Addressing your child's feeding problems can help prevent future poor eating habits and attitudes.
Jessica Stetcher and Valerie Stevenson to tell us about Boundaries Therapy Team's approach to evaluating and treating infant and children with feeding disorders. To both of you, welcome to the show. I'm sure this is probably prevalent for a lot of moms and dads out there. So let's start with what is feeding therapy?
Feeding therapy works to address all the body processes required to safely eat and drink. During treatment, we work with sensory issues and oral motor issues. And our overall goal of treatment is to teach children to enjoy eating and drinking.
So I guess who would benefit then from getting this feeding therapy?
Any child who is a picky eater. Some specific examples, I mean, picky eating is pretty obvious, but or kids that gag really easy or choke and cough a lot while they're eating would be worth taking a look at.
Mm-hmm. And what makes your guys' program unique?
Our program's unique because we use a team approach to create an individualized plan of care for each kid. Our speech-language pathologist and occupational therapist approach feeding from two different areas of professional expertise. Together, we work to create a plan of care that addresses oral motor, sensory, and behavioral concerns related to eating. We also work closely with families to teach them how to get their kids to try new foods and to make mealtimes more enjoyable.
I know you mentioned there are, kids go through phases of picky eating, but obviously some might benefit from this. So what are some tips for parents who might be handling this night after night and not know what to do about it?
Some basic tips that we like to tell parents. Number one, always have a good model sitting with your child, whether it's an older sibling or a parent, so that you can make that more of a social activity. And then number two, if you do think of a picky eater, wait 2.5 to 3 hours before you feed kids. Don't let them have snacks and make sure they're hungry for their meals. And if you're still having trouble, give us a call and we'll take a look and maybe we can give some suggestions or do a burst of therapy. And you can check us out at beyondboundaries.us.
So talk about that, because I think a lot of parents are like, oh, my kid's just being a picky eater, it's a phase. At what point do you go, you know what, maybe I should reach out to some professionals and get some help? And then what do you guys do when I show up?
Well, we do an evaluation together. Two sets of eyes are better than one, and really look at, use that team approach. And then our rule of thumb that we like to tell parents is 10, 10, and 10. So 10 starches, 10 fruits and vegetables, and 10 proteins. And so that's always our long-term goal. And if your child has less than that, there might be something else going on that we might see, whether it's a sensory issue or an oral motor issue, weakness, discoordination, yeah.
And I know, as you said, you have a lot of qualified people who are there working with the kids. So how do you kind of introduce them to eating things that they might be gagging at?
It's a play approach to therapy. So we meet the kids where they are and teach them how to play and interact with the foods in a way that makes it enjoyable for them and build them up to that eating and swallowing the food.
I like that you can play with your food beyond boundaries.
You got to sing, what's the old song, Broccoli? How do people get a hold of you if they want some help?
Check us out on the internet at beyondboundaries.us.
Perfect.
Thanks, you guys. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. Much more coming up right here on North Dakota Today.